So, you think you're the big business, do you, pal? You've smashed through Elden Ring and cast your own shadow right over that dang Erdtree, and now you're probably standing at the top of that pile of bodies feeling pretty smug, right? But wait, what's this feeling? Oh, no, it's the creeping sense of dread that you'll not play anything quite like Elden Ring again anytime soon. Well, fear not, you big boo-hoo baby, as I'm here with a list of games that Elden Ring fans like you need to slap right on into their libraries pronto. So let's have a chat, as I'm Jules, this is FGS, and these are some video games like Elden Ring I guarantee you haven't played. Number 5, Grimlord VR. Now, when it comes to Elden Ring, death is usually nose to nose with every step you take, as a mistimed roll, a whiffed attack, or just the boss in question being an utter bellend, no, you're being too salty, will likely result in respawning at a site of grace real soon. But you know what? It's not close enough, damn it, I want this right up in my eyeballs. So thank the powers that be that we have Grimlord, a VR experience that seems purpose-built for Souls and Elden Ring fans. I say this because a lot of the same components are displayed here, from enemies that take an ungodly amount of punishment and always seem to bloody ambush you, to boss battles that require near-perfect pattern memorization to get the better of. And, of course, it's set in a world that looks 2 steps away from Oblivion and 1 lower down than Gateshead. And yes, I can say that because I used to live there. As you explore the vast game map, you'll unlock shortcuts and rest points that make the slog back to where you were just dissected that little bit easier. And if you venture off the beaten path, well, you'll unlock weapon parts that allow you to build an over-the-top arsenal. Yet make no bones about it, Grimlord is here to break yours. This is a challenge that will leave you physically exhausted as you parry, dodge, climb, sneak and sprint through this immersive VR experience. And you too can indulge right now as Grimlord is out in early access with more content planned to drop real soon. Number 4, voidsols. If you believe player skill is the only factor that matters when taking on your next Souls-like and you think you've gotten good, then you need to prove it and check out voidsols. This is perhaps the purest form of a Souls game. No time wasted on crazy enemy designs or perfecting your undead knight drip. In this game, you are a triangle fighting other geometric shapes, and that's pretty much it. But don't worry though, it's got all the great hallmarks of any top-tier Souls game. First off, you wake up in a jail cell with no context, so that's a story check. Next up, you rest at a light spark in order to heal, level up and set your equipment, bonfire style check. Then you need to try to escape the prison by navigating its absolutely maddening floor plan while unlocking shortcuts and defeating enemies that are far stronger than they have any bloody right to be. So yeah, soul-crushing gameplay, check. But just like every great Souls game, there is so much more going on under the surface. You may not spot it at first, but there are crates that you can push around the level and they affect your enemy's line of sight as well as your own, meaning that you can set up awesome ambushes or sneak past whole battalions of pentagons. And my favourite feature of this is that you can respec at any time. None of your levelling up is set in stone. Have you specced into strength but now found a new dagger that you want to try? Well, no worries, simply rest at a light spark and take all of those points out of strength and drop them into speed and dex. No penalty or special NPC to find, just great game design. If you love the challenge and level design of Souls games, you owe it to yourself to try this now in its simplest form. voidsols has a free, that's right, free demo available right now on Steam, and it's set to release this year on PC in full. Number 3, Enotria, The Last Song. Now, if I had $1 for every game that combines Souls-like combat with Italian source material, I'd have $2, which isn't a lot, but it is funny that it's actually happened twice, because you see, Enotria, The Last Song, takes the familiar concept of an oppressive, dangerous world full of enemies desperate to overwhelm you, and then gives it a gorgeous, sun-kissed aesthetic inspired by the birthplace of humankind's finest cuisine, pizza. With areas that rival The Witcher 3's Toussaint, thanks to sprawling vistas and striking architecture, it's easy to forget that there are enemies just waiting around every corner. It's not all bad though, with friendly NPCs to be found and tranquil safe havens that give Dark Souls 2's Majula a run for its money as the most calming location in a bloody difficult game. With a range of weapons from light to heavy, the action feels instantly familiar to veterans of Lies of P, focusing on a combination of strikes, parries and dodging. The satisfaction of staggering your foes with a perfectly timed parry cannot be understated, especially when you follow up with a critical hit while they're staggered. Your currency in this game is Memoria, which, in typical Souls-like fashion, is earned from eliminating opponents and generally looted throughout the in-game world, and can be used to raise your character level, enhance enhance your equipment, and so on. There's also the usual array of stats for leveling up your character, albeit relatively stripped back, but this familiar feature is bolstered by a skill tree that grants a variety of perks to suit how you want to play. With a demo available right now on Steam and PS5, Souls-like fans do not want to miss out on this delightful action RPG. Number 2, Dark Souls 3, but with the Convergence mod installed. Now, if you like Elden Ring, you've probably heard of a little game called Dark Souls 3. But have you played Dark Souls 3, The Convergence? I knew you probably hadn't. This is a fan-made expansion for Dark Souls 3, and it is actually the most popular mod for Dark Souls 3, and for good bloody reason. The mod is massive. It overhauls Dark Souls 3 with new weapons, spells, reworked areas, enhanced visuals, new enemies, bosses, and much more. Every map is extensively revamped with new enemy and item placement, improved lighting, decorations, and aesthetics to reignite the thrill of that first Dark Souls 3 playthrough. The mod includes unique bosses as well, and one standout boss, Archdruid Kaimar, uses animations from Sekiro's Owl Fight, offering a fresh challenge for veteran players. It also features ultra-hard versions of the Abyss Watchers and Yorm the Giant for the ultimate test. And for fans of magic builds, the Convergence adds in a staggering number of new spells and schools of magic more akin to bloody Skyrim, like Cryomancy, Aeromancy, Geomancy, Druidism, and Dark Miracles. And you can specialize in one of them or just mix them all up. If you want a fresh Dark Souls adventure without retreading old ground, well, tread some new ground by going over to Nexus Mod to download the Convergence mod. And if you really want to cheat and get a game even closer to Elden Ring, the same makers of this mod have already made one for Elden Ring called, you guessed it, the Convergence, which has got a load of praise and even lets you play as Melania. Need I say more? And number 1, Blasphemous 2. Now, how does a 2D Souls-like fueled by Catholic guilt sound to you? Obviously, I'm talking about Blasphemous, the 2019 indie darling that fused Souls-like mechanics with deep religious horror. But don't worry, I'm not actually recommending that. This is a list of Souls-like games that we guarantee you haven't played. And of course, you'll have already played Blasphemous, right? No. So instead, I'm recommending Blasphemous 2, the 2023 indie darling that fused Souls-like mechanics with deep religious horror. Where have I heard that before? And the reason that I bring it up is because so many people have not played this game. It's quite worrying seeing as it's a sequel that is so bloody good. Blasphemous 2 completely reinvents the original's combat system, now offering 3 starting weapons that play completely different to one another. Combine that with more sumptuously beautiful pixel art that paints a world of horrifying biblical creatures that fascinate you as much as they repulse you, and tough but fair bosses that challenge you like any good Souls-like should. If you enjoyed games like Hollow Knight, Salt and Sanctuary, or Blasphemous 1, then Blasphemous 2 will be right up your street. Also, this is a left field comparison, but it's actually got the most intriguing enemy design and disturbing story elements since the original bloody Silent Hill games. So if that floats your boat, then get yourself a copy. Well, after you've seen a therapist, obviously. Because this game will torture your brain. Blasphemous 2 is out now and you can play it on pretty much everything with a controller. PC, Switch, PS4, PS5 and all of the Xboxes. And it also looks like the team are teasing something new in the franchise as well, so get this played so you can get yourself up to date and then you can be ready for whatever new horror they're bringing to the table. And there we go, my friends. Those were games like Elden Ring I guarantee you haven't played. Let me know what you thought about it down in the comment section below. Have you played these games? If so, how many of them have you played? And don't worry, we'll probably be back with some more because there are quite a lot of Souls-like, Elden Ring-like games out there, and some of them desperately need more attention. As always, I've been Jules. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Hope you're treating yourself with love and respect because you bloody well deserve the best, alright? And I will speak to you soon. Bye.